For more on the markets and reaction to the officials trying to get together and find out what went wrong. Let's hear from Jeff Davis. He's the Chief Investment Officer at money manager Lee Munder Capital. Jeff, good to have you with us. And, just hearing from what Suzanne was talking about, do you have any confidence that the SEC, the CFTC, or whoever can find out what happened and will be able to prevent another Thursday?
Well, yeah, I think it's extremely important. I think, particularly among professionals, more than the buying public. We want to know what went wrong. It's not that complicated, and the first stories that came out weren't credible. We want to know that it wasn't cyber terrorism. We want to know that it was a glitch that they can fix, and there's nervousness until that's resolved.
Well, has anything changed for you, Jeff?
Well, you can't. You trade as normal, but your trading desks have to be on alert as to any kind of malfunctions here. And I think there's a lot of communications and a lot of sensitivity now. So I think the way people are trading has changed.
It has changed indeed. Although today, of course, we're talking about all of this, and you're seeing the S&P future is up over 4%. What does that tell you about market sentiment right now? How unstable it is?
Well, it is. It's a very choppy period. I think unlike, well, the U.S. market, what the U.S. market is going through in terms of its retrenchment, it's kind of normal. But what's happening in Europe is new and uncharted territory. So I think a lot of investors are nervous about the future of euro, and hopefully the recovery can get back on track. Otherwise, we're going to have a tough go. So
then where do you look to back in history to figure out where we're going?
You're at that inflection point. There's been a couple of periods like this past year where you've had enormous gains in equity markets off of a deep floor. And, in a couple of circumstances, things after about 6 months to a year got better and off to the races. And then a couple of incidents, and particularly in the 30s and in the 70s, where, it didn't get back on track. So you're kind of at that inflection point right now. I think a lot of investors really need to look at the fundamentals now and ask whether this is a sustainable growth that we have.
So then just quickly, Jeff, is it time to buy? Are you smart to buy now?
Well, I like it. It's not necessarily, some of it's an act of faith, but the valuations on the equities versus fixed income are still very attractive. And even though you have to take that with a grain of salt that you could get in and have another 1,000-point drop, but I think this is not a bad entry still into the equity market for investors who can hang in there for 5 years.
Okay. All right, Jeff. Good to talk with you. Jeff Davis of Lee Munder Capital in Boston.